7 tips for success. I am going to keep this brief. Tip number 1, guys, have an argument. Okay, I'm just going to read these one right after the other. Don't wait until forever to get to the point of your paper. I don't need the history of the world or the history of your topic. I'm much more interested in what you want to add to the conversation. So your argument should take up by far the most of your essay. What are you adding to the conversation? That's the main question that I want to ask every single one of your essays. What fresh thinking are you adding? Okay, put every quote, every stat, every study, all of it, put it to work for your argument. More on that in a minute. Spell it out for readers in plainly clear ways. If it feels like you're overwriting it, guess what? You're writing it the exact right amount. So provide a quote, provide a stat, but put it to work. Let me know how you want me to interpret it in your paper. Okay, how do you want readers to be different? Do you want them to think differently, act differently, spend, behave, vote, parent, text, drive, shop, whatever? How do you want people to be different as a result of reading your essay? That's the question at hand. You need to answer it adequately, okay? Tip number 2, use your sources well. Every outside source, and that includes your primary research, should have a clear purpose to your essay. I'm saying this twice because it's just that important. Explain that purpose in clear ways. Freestanding quotes, they don't tell me much. Make sure that your quotes are contextualized. You want to introduce them and you want to analyze them. So your quote should never appear at the beginning or the end of a paper or of a paragraph unless you're doing something kind of stylistically interesting. And that's fine, do that, but it should be very clearly contextualized no matter what. So quote introductions, verbs of attribution, things I've asked you to learn about weeks ago, in some cases months ago, still use those skills, okay? Use your sources, yes, use them well. I'm well past the point of telling you that your sources should be credible, blah, blah, blah. You should know all that by now. You learned that last semester. Tip number 3, be specific. I'm seeing so many vague references to technology. You know, technology has changed in the last few years. Well, guess what, guys? Technology is always changing. That's what makes it technology. We're always improving. We're always innovating. You know, I don't know how else to say it. These types of terms here need to be drastically narrowed. So when you refer to technology, I need your definition of technology. Okay, you know, people, even students, any sort of population needs to be much more narrowly defined. Media, education, relationships, tools. Anytime you have a word, especially a noun that seems vague, I'm going to encourage you to specify it. It makes your paper more manageable. It makes your argument more vivid, more fully realized. Okay, define them however you like, but define them. That's really what I'm looking for. Tip number 4, cite your sources well. I feel very ethically icky. I'm still the old school when it comes to, I had to learn all the MLA rules the hard way by typing them out on my word processor back in the day and on my computer. And so I still, I feel like there's a learning process that should be revered there, but that's not how the world works anymore. There are a million websites out there. You probably know more than I do. There are Chrome extensions for many of these websites here. I'm not going to say them out loud. You need to read these on your own, look them up on your own. I'm not going to be any more helpful than this and that one list of links that I gave you a while ago. Okay, a lot of you aren't giving me works cited pages for your rough drafts. A lot of you aren't really adhering to a clear citation style. Make sure that you are by the time your final draft comes around. I'm going to tell you that because failure to properly cite and format your essay will lower your grade in some cases drastically. If your paper looks lazy, well, guess what? I'm going to think you're lazy too. Okay, tip number 5, use and cite your primary research. Use your primary research just like you would a secondary source, okay? Use it sparingly. I don't need 3 pages on the history of your observation. That's essay 1. We've already covered that ground. I want you to use your primary research just like you use an outside source, a statistic. You're going to use it sparingly, which is to say the memorable stuff, the stuff that warrants inclusion in your paper. If you give me 2 pages of here's the person I interviewed, here's what they said, and here's what I said, and here's what they said, and here's what I said, you haven't learned the things I've been very badly trying to teach you. Okay, and your secondary and primary sources should be in support of your argument. Are you getting a really clear idea that I want you to use your sources in clear ways, right? Argumentative agenda. If you're not being persuasive, your essay cannot succeed. Okay, a lot of questions about this. I'm sorry that's unclear to some of you, but all of your primary research's raw data must appear in your appendix. So many of you, not many of you, but more than a handful of you really didn't put much effort into Invention Journal 8. I hope you're ready to put that effort in now, because if your appendix is in any way lacking, guess what? Going to come out of your grade. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's the way it's going to be. Number 6, tip number 6, be interesting. Use a varied and sophisticated vocabulary. Your writing needs to come to life. I'm going to be just as interested in your subject as you are interested in writing about it. And if you sound bored, well, guess what? I'm going to be bored. So go ahead, use visuals as well, okay? There's lots of websites out there that will convert your data into charts or graphs or infographics. Some of you are getting really good with infographics, very cool. Throw pictures in there, embed a video. You guys are better at this than I am, so show me what you can do. Now, of course, if you have a picture of Mark Zuckerberg that takes up an entire page, that doesn't count towards the 10. I hope that's clear. But otherwise, be visually interesting. You're allowed to do visually challenging things, especially since we're getting ready for the multimodal collaborative assignment coming up very soon. Okay, and the last one is keep Steve informed. I am always an email away. Okay, I want to see you succeed. Here I am, looking very seriously. You got this. Okay, so listen to me. Let me do this for effect. Let's see. Let me turn on my camera again. Let's see. Oh, there are my kids. Okay, you got this. All right, do this. Bring it home.